Well, hello everyone. I have right here talking about for apps right here. What are examples of what you call, talk about for mobile apps right here? It's like a coupon, right? A pass, a membership pass, or a coupon. And a lot of times it sure seems that way that, anybody who's not familiar with the word app, it's another way of saying this word, yeah, it's a digital coupon. It's another way of how you want to call for a coupon, but this time what you are doing is that you're actually going to an actual online store just to be able to receive that information, just to be able to redeem that information, of course, just to be able to activate that information. So every time you do think about that, and you're warned to where, okay, yeah, the App Store, and you'll want to know too, okay, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is right here, but still. So you have right here talking about for Windows, apps, right? The App Store, right? So yeah, install more devices right here. So if you're going to be signed into Google Play right here, like everybody says, to where yeah, it could be any other store really. It could be the Microsoft Store. It could also be the App Store, the Apple Store, and it could also be the Microsoft Store, Samsung Store, and the Sony store, stores. So any other source of store, right? So every time you do think about that, and you're 102 is to where that you go ahead and look at these coupons right here, and you're warned toward okay, yeah, that back in those days, that a lot of times that you would actually cut, you would actually cut out a lot of the coupons, paper coupons. But with these digital coupons, what you are basically are doing is like, so half the time we want to know too is to where, every time we do think about that, and you're warned toward, okay, yeah, that whenever we do speak about the apps right here, and you're warned to where, yeah, that whenever it comes to understanding about the App Store right here, and you're warned that why is it that we don't use it this way whenever you actually install the mobile app on your devices, right? Then compared to doing it the old style way, to where that you would actually receive a paper or coupon in the mail, and that you would have to cut out the details right there. And like everybody else would say, is to where, okay, yeah, that you got the Windows app right here, but then at the same time, you're 102 that, okay, yeah, the Windows app right here. And with the Windows app right here, that, you don't have the scissors. I'm like, yeah, you don't have any sort of way to be able to cut out the coupon, just to be able to make sure you put it in your personal wallet, just to be able to take it to that store, or take it to that restaurant, just to be able to use it, right? So, but this way right here is actually whenever you actually do the key search right here. So if you actually search Wendy's right here, and 102, yeah, so how convenient is that to where that if you would actually search in the search bar right there, you do a key search right there for the Wendy's app, Wendy's Live right there. Just like anybody say, just like if you actually were to be doing this in the actual library, that you would actually be typing it in manually, and like, doing the search bar, using the search bar right there, just to be able to look up a restaurant type, or just to be able to look anything up, right? And so it's like, yeah, so that's really the main purpose to why you will be using this right here, is to be able to look up the information about which restaurant, or anywhere that you would like to go eat at, or go shopping at. I'm like, yeah, if we're talking about the mall or somewhere like that, and so it's like, yeah, the mall. And so if you actually were to be shopping any sort, any stores or anywhere like that, yeah, you got Wendy's and you got Subway. I can go ahead and put on here, yeah, search Subway right here. Subway offers, and so each time you think about that, and you're warned toward it, that why is it that maybe everybody else would prefer toward it you know, I actually like the old style way to where you can actually cut the coupons out of the newspapers and catalogs rather than be dealing with all these other functions and options and such, right? So a lot of times it's like every time you think about that and want to know too that this is a new way of how to be able to receive coupons. This right here is a new way of how you would be able to get special offers and special buys and special memberships and redeem points and all that. So let's just say if it is McDonald's and if it's McDonald's and then if it is going to be Arby's or any other restaurants like that, and you're warned to where that so every time you think about that, it's like everybody else may say is to where that if you learned the basics on how to use these digital coupons like everybody else would say is to where that you actually can work that out to where a lot of that your orders will be paid for, and then you can even have them delivered. All you have to do is make sure that your account is all updated. So it's like so if we're talking about the Arby's. So every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that Arby's. I'm like no E in there, but still. So it's like so every time you think about that, then you're always want to know too that for the most part that you would need to know how to spell the name of the restaurant that you're looking up, rather than the fact about then compared to the old style coupons, you would always have to remember to cut the coupons out of the newspapers and catalog just before you can use them, right? But here you would actually have to for sure, you would need to know how to spell the names of these restaurants a lot of times. But it's like, please install this app right here, so that way you can receive special offers and discounts and all that. But it's like, so every time you think about that, and you're want to know too that especially if we're talking about maybe for Crackle Barrel. So every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that not everybody knows how this works right here. So it sure seems that way that whenever you go to these restaurants a lot of times, that what you basically are taking time to do, of course, like everybody says, that whenever you do go into these restaurants, whenever you actually are there at the actual restaurant, that maybe not everybody is going to have these smartphones and maybe these devices where you'll be able to have access to a lot of these apps right here. So that's why that you want to know too that maybe some of these restaurants would have it. I'm like that they got the QR code scanner and all that it's available, but still that but it's like so every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that you think that maybe it would help toward that I'm like if you click on install on more devices right here, but still that but you have this information right here to where you can actually look up the information about the mobile app right here. But you're warned to where that if you have a few of these, I'm like if you have the apps installed on your phone, and 102 Taco Bell. Taco Bell, and so every time you do think about that, and you're 102 that for sure that every time you think about that, and it's like you're 102 that you don't have to worry about cutting you don't have to worry about cutting the coupons out of the catalogs or anything like that. But still, that you would need to know how to spell the names of these restaurants a lot of times. And like everybody else might say, is toward every time you do the search right here, and that you're one oh two. If you were like, yeah, like Applebee's, I'm sure most of us, Applebee's, I mean, how many of us would spell Applebee's and know by say it's like, yeah, if you spell Applebee's correctly, for sure, then it would take you directly to the app and all that. But like everybody says, to where that, yeah, Applebee's. How many of us have put an I instead of an E or something like that right there? Like everybody say, yeah, if I were to spell the restaurant like that, what do you think they would give me? Well, it would say on there that, yeah, showing results for Applebee's instead of Applebee's or something like that. And at 102 that, yeah, if you put a Y instead of an E right there. Yeah, Apple buys or something like that. Apple buys. Apple buys, and if you spell it like that, and people 102, that all kind of... Now, if you can go ahead and check the spelling of that right there, like, yeah, Apple buys. And, so instead of, so it's like, so if you were to spell it just like that, I guess it's, that's what it's going to do, right? On Google Play, it's actually going to direct you, I'm like, yeah, buys as to what's recommended to buy, on these stores, right? It's not going to take you directly to the restaurant by the name of Applebee's. It's going to take you to these menus right here, to where, okay, yeah, similar items, from the key search, from what you search, but then you have Applebee's right here, but then you also have IHOP, and you all have McDonald's right here, and you got Beats right here, and so yeah, so every time you think about that, and you're always 102, is toward it, yeah, as long as you have, as long as you go ahead and spell, if you do the search right here, and let's say if it is, Walmart, the Walmart shopping app or something like that, the Walmart pharmacy, but still, it's like every time you think about that, and you're always 102, is toward, that, do you think on average anybody would want to learn the basics of how to be able to install the mobile apps and learn the basics about how it works and compared to if you're going to be driving around town and at 102 that, okay, yeah, the first thing that you're going to be thinking about whenever you go to these places is the fact of it, if they're open or not. But still, but if you were to learn the basics about how to use the Google Play Store right here, you would see this right here to where that all you have to do for sure is to make sure that you have this installed right here. So if I were to click install right here, and then it's going to give me, I'm like, yeah, right here. And then it's going to say this to where that the details about the device and the phone and all that. But it's like, yeah, so it's like, every time you do think about that, and you're warned to where that, do you really know how to do all that? And it's like, well, if you know your phone, but like with me, I'm not even on my phone, on my desktop, on my machine right here, but still on my computer right here, on my system, but still, that every time you do think about that, you're warned to where that you're not even using any glue sticks or any scissors just to be able to cut the coupon out of the catalog, just to be able to get it ready to be able to use, right? So it sure seems that way that each time you think about this right here, and 102 is toward, okay, yeah, that our smartphones and tablets right here, that you would be able to install these on the phone, but it's like you're warned toward, okay, yeah, it's not the actual scissors that you need, but it's also the space, and also knowing about if your device is compatible with the service that you'll use for the apps right here, right, the digital coupons. So everybody might even say is toward, yeah, that so if you're going to be buying one of these phones that gives you one of these devices that gives you the ability to where you can actually use the service here for the digital coupons and other sorts of digital works, and you're warned to where that, you got right here for Best Buy right here, but, yeah, or Amazon. I can do Best Buy here, like everybody says, to where go in and then go ahead and use Amazon. Okay, you'll use Amazon here, but still, it's like every time you think about that, and you're 102 that why is it that a lot of times that whenever you do think about the coupons, a lot of times you may not always have a coupon handy, mainly because that I don't want to have to go to the app store just to be able to download those and just to be able to get them. But like everybody says, to well, really that you could probably register there from the nearest location, right? If you go to the nearest store, like I know, if you go to like there's retail stores like Walgreens, and there's Best Buy and Kohl's and Walmart and other retail stores where you can be able to go in there, and then that they'll go ahead and get you in the system where you'll be able to shop for shop for coupons and all that. But it sure seems that way each time you do think about that, that the use of electronic service, I'm like, talk about for Amazon Music right here. But every time you think about that, you're worried too that whenever it comes to understanding about the use of the mobile apps though, and you're warned toward it, whenever it comes to understanding about using the service and everything, and you're warned toward it, that you use the service right here, and you're thinking as toward it, back in those days that all you really had to do was just, if you want to go ahead and use a coupon, there was a way that you can go ahead and scan. I'm like, that the cashiers a lot of times would scan those in and just be able to enter the QR, like the QR code and everything, with all this digital software. So it's like, so a lot of times it's like every time you do think about that, and you're 102, that do most of us like the old way of how it used to work, or do most of us think about that to where that do you like the new way just because? That you would actually like to see somebody I'm like, show you how this works and all that. So it sure seems that way, like everybody else might say, is toward that you actually would like to use like everybody else might say too, that you would actually feel more comfortable with if you can get on Facebook. You would actually feel more comfortable if you can get on Facebook and use your Facebook account to be able to do your shopping, right? Like everybody else might even say that, if you want to go ahead and pick a social media site that you felt more comfortable with, especially if it's maybe going to be Facebook or Instagram or anywhere like that, and you're 102, that, you would actually like to be able to use a social media site that you feel more comfortable with whenever it comes to understanding about what an app is. And it's like, talk about for digital coupons right here. So every time you do think about that, and you're 102, what is an app? It's another way of saying is to we're talking about for digital coupon. Digital coupons. And so it's like, digital coupons sent by email or text. So every time we do think about digital right here, like everybody says toward it, if you're used to the old school stuff for any reason at all, there are a lot of stuff that you don't quite understand, but like everybody else says toward that what's the best way of how to describe an app whenever it comes to smartphones? It's another way of how you want to call this to where it's like it's a little miniature TV that where you can actually look up stuff, like everybody says, to where that you used a remote control before, haven't you? Yeah, well, you've used a hair dryer before, haven't you? Like, and yeah, you used an iron before, haven't you? Like, and yeah, like, and well, look at an app is just like a remote. Look at it just like a hair dryer. Look at it just like an iron. To where the only that you with the smartphone though that you're able to receive information about the service and the business and the way of how it works, right? Like everybody says toward it. Well, really, if that app is not installed on your system for sure, like everybody says toward, okay, yeah, that if it's not installed for sure, then not everybody's really going to know what that is. But still, so every time you do think about that, then you're 102 that talk about for your movies right here and books right here, but talk about for apps right here. But it's like, yeah, so every time you think about that, not everybody is really going to know what that is right here. So it's like, yeah, so you have right here, you have Messenger right here, Facebook and gaming, and then Facebook for business. And so really, that every time you do think about that, then you're 102 that, what do you mean by app? Do you mean by a switch, or do you mean by custom-made button, or something like that? But everybody might say is toward it. Whenever you do say app, people might say, "Hey, that's what it's called right here." But what is another definition for app right here? And I can go ahead and put on here, like everybody might say, is toward it. Really, what is a good way of how you want to abbreviate a mobile app right here? And if you want to call us, is toward it, administered, the administered, participant. Administered participant, pointed service. So if I were to abbreviate, pointed service right here, like everybody says, to where, the pointed service right here. So let's just say that if I were to abbreviate the mobile app right here, and people may say is to where, is that really what it stands for right there? I'm like, well, really, that I don't really think it stands for administered participant, point service right here. But like everybody might even say too, is to where if you were to be teaching anybody, the basic service about, what an app is and maybe what it means right here. What do you think that you would tell them necessarily? Do you think it'll be the administered participant, point of service right here? So really, what better way is that to really describe to anybody about what an app is? And to me, though, I look at that more like, an audition right here. Whenever you do an audition for something, you're signing up, right? You are signing up, just to be able to receive service, right? So whenever you do that, that's a way of what you want to call an app right there. So in case of anybody that asked me that, if you don't know what an app is, then you can go ahead and use sign up, as an example. Download the sign up, service right there. Download the sign up right there. So in case of anybody that asks me that if you were to actually be teaching anybody the basics about how the Google Play Store works and how the Samsung Galaxy Store works or something like that, and what exactly would you tell them? And like 102 is toward the administered participant pointed service right here. So like everybody says toward it, well, well, as long as it works, right? For sure. If it works for sure, then maybe somebody's gonna they're gonna use it for sure. Yeah, if you teach somebody how something works for sure, you go ahead and put right there, put a comma right there at 102 that for the administered participant pointed at service, and sign up today, if it works right there. So it's like, so every time you think about that in 102, then what best way is it to go ahead and describe an app right there? And like I say, the administered participant, your point of service right here. So it's another way of how to describe to where that, another way of how you want to call this to where talking about for the online service, sign up today to receive the electronic version, and just to be able to receive, just to be able to stream and go to your online portal, go to your online store, right? So that's another way of how to describe that. So like everybody else might say is to where that anybody who grew up in the 1950s and 60s would have wanted to know too that what is an app? Well, you go and just tell them as to where to sign up. Sign up today, and it's like, so every time you do want to know about that is to where that if you want to know a little bit more on how to be able to install the mobile apps and all that, but like everybody says, to where that if you have if you go ahead and talk to a lot of those experts, by the way, but it's like a lot of everybody else would say is to where that it's done for you. It's like, So every time you do think about that, and everybody else might say is to where, it's all done for you. This right here, it's all done for you right here, and all you really have to do is just confirm your email address and everything, confirm your phone number and everything. So every time you do think about that, you're want to know too that that anybody who doesn't know what an app is, or that if they don't really know about how to use that coupon and everything, and you're warned, what exactly is it that you're going to tell them? Like, well, really, number one, that you can always tell them that you go ahead and look at the smartwatch or something like, but still. But at the same time, that we all know that whenever we're going to be shopping around in these stores right here, that like everybody else would say is to where that look at a mobile app just like a shopping cart, a shopping cart. It's a shopping cart. A shopping cart. So every time you think about that, then you're 102. Anybody who doesn't know what an app is, you can just say, a shopping cart. Administered participant point of service right here for auditioning, for sign up today. So you have right here, anybody say that if you're going to be teaching any kids or anybody about how to use this right here, and at 102 that is to where that by the time you learn the basics of how it all works for sure, like everybody says, to where, well, sorry I asked, and sorry I was so confused about it there at the beginning, but I didn't quite understand how you did that. But every time you do think about that, and you're thinking as to where that, really, how are you going to really teach anybody how to use this? Because it's like every time you do think about that, and you're 102, that, oh, okay, I had absolutely no idea, how that worked. And so it's like, so every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that, that why am like, what part don't you understand about how to do this? And so to me though, it's like everybody might even say that that it used to be that way, to where that you were to it used to be that way to where you would go ahead and install if there was any coupons and special offers or anything like that, yeah, that's Facebook right there. But like everybody else would say, that when we're talking about special offers and coupons and anything else like that. Let me see here. Yeah, everybody might even say that when we talk about the apps right here at 102, that yeah, if there's anything anything on the store right here that you would want to check out at some point, and like I say, yeah, Facebook and Messenger in one beautiful lit app right here. So yeah, so if you were to be teaching anybody the basics about how to use the app right here, look at it like a shopping cart. You have right here, yeah, you got the shopping cart right here. Look at it like a shopping cart right here. The administered participant point of service, the audition, for the sign up today. So every time you think about that, and like everybody else might say, is toward, okay, yeah, that, you know what a shopping cart is, don't you? Like, and yeah, I know, of course I know what a shopping cart. Well, look at an app just like that. You go ahead and use the app, and you pick out anything that you would like to read about, anything that you want, right here. So it's like, so nowadays it's like, you're warned toward it. Each time you do think about that, and like, yeah, you got the similar apps right here, and so yeah, so every time you think about that right there, and you're warned too, is to where that whenever it comes to teaching somebody the basics about how to shop for anything on Google Play here, and you're warned too that how do I find out about if you have any credits, and maybe if you do have any points that you can redeem and all. So it's like, yeah, so really, who would really want to spend a whole lot of time learning the basics about how to use this store, by the way? And so it sure seems that way. That it's like, yeah, you go ahead and spend the time to show somebody how to use that. And what's the first thing that you're going to maybe start out with? Like everybody else would say, is to where, well, first of all, you start out with the gift card, for sure. People might say, is to where, yeah, you go ahead and start out with the gift card, and or maybe if it's redeem, special points and all, but still, you got the crossword puzzles here, the Family Farm Adventure, and other games right here that you see right here, and so it's like, yeah, so every time you think about that, and you're warned to where that back in the old days, is that you actually walked into these stores just to be able to put anything in the shopping cart, right? But now it's like you had this ability to where you can shop online. You can shop on the computer or from your device, and you can pick out anything that you like to have, from the store right here. But really, why would anybody you prefer, to go ahead and shop this way than compared to the old style? And it sure seems that way. That, well, number one, you don't really have to drive so far just to be able to go to the store. And like anybody says, to where that if you were to shop this way, for sure that what you would be able to receive that item, yeah, right away. And a lot of times it's like, especially when we're talking about shipping and all that, it takes up to 2 to 3 business days just before you can get something, right? But a lot of times it's like, yeah, so to me though, it's like, yeah. So every time you think about that, and you're 102, that look at this like it's just another way of having your own shopping cart, right? You have your own shopping cart. Yeah, you have your own shopping cart. Your own shopping cart. You have your own shopping cart whenever you do this right here. You can, anything that you see in that store that you would like to have, anything, yeah. So it's like, you go and click on one of these right here, and then you'll be like, yeah, if you would like to have anything from that store, and then this is how you would be able to shop around for it, and just click install, or you place a order, and so yeah, so it's like, So every time you think about that, then you're aware too that really, who would want to spend even an hour working on this right here? Knowing that anything that you would want to shop for and all that, even on Facebook. But to me though, it's like everybody else would say is toward it that there's a lot more that you can do with it than from what it used to be. So it's like so every time you do think about that, it's like a lot more, a lot more. If there's a lot, you have a lot more ability for what you can do with that, and but still, it's like I can go ahead and go to Walgreens right here. So every time you do think about that, then you're warranted. Okay, Walgreens. Every time you say, let's go to Walgreens, and it's like, okay, does that mean get in the car and go to the store? Or does that mean no? That means that there's an app that you can install on your device right there where you can actually visit the nearest store, right? And so it's like, so every time you think about that, 102, I'm like, there's Walgreens and there's also Hy-Vee. There's Hy-Vee right here. I'm like, your Kroger's, and so every time you think about the online store that talk about for anticipated, I'm like, so it's like the basic online service right here, and so that's why it seems like anybody who wants to know too, I'm like, talk about for Burger King, and so you got Burger King right here. So every time you think about that, then you're warned to her, okay, that whenever you do think about the app right here, and you look at that as toward it another way of how you want to call it is toward you're trying to participate for sign up today, and so the way I think about too is toward that whenever you do look at that and one like everybody say, every time you think about that and 102 that you always need to make sure that the spelling's correctly too. And, but everybody might even say is toward okay, if you would actually key search right here and 102 that okay, that so if you were to look up a particular restaurant, Ground Round. Ground Round right here. Ground Round Bar and Grill right here. So you'll want to know too that a few restaurants that you didn't know if they were still even in business, and want to know too that a lot of these restaurants, a few of them that have that are still in business, but then they run with what you're looking at right here, the Chow Now or something like that. A few of these restaurants that you want to know too, a few of them that you want to know if they're even still in business right here. White Castle. Popeyes. You also have Popeyes and White Castle and then Popeyes. So it's like so every time you think about that a lot of times, and you're warned to where as long as you have it spelled correctly for sure that you can go ahead and look up any restaurant or anywhere where you want to shop, right? And that's what it seems like that Hardee's. I'm sure we get the basic idea, right? We get the idea of with the Kmart. I could put on here Kmart. So every time you do think about this, and you're warned to where that this is basically the same stuff that we use every day right here. We use this. We use this every day, but we just don't think about it, right? We just don't think about it. What we really want to do is actually walk into the actual store just to be able to do our shopping, just to do our shopping, and of course, just to be able to buy what we want to get, right? But a lot of times it's like, you know, for sure that if you have this smartphone or on your account, if you had this account where you had this ability to where you can figure out the basics about how to you be able to use the service, for sure, you won't even have to worry about all those complicated features. As soon as you learn the basics, for sure the stuff that you use every day, the things that we use every day, that's provided to us. But like we all might even think too that if you're going to be using the mobile app, for sure that 102 that you really, by the time you learn the basics on how to use that stuff, and you're 102 that you actually enjoy it whenever things are delivered, and then whenever things are in stock, right? You don't want to have to deal with whenever things run out. And so that's what it seems like, as to where, when a lot of times it's like, people might say that whenever you do shop online, that you really would ask to make sure that everything is in stock, right? Make sure it's in stock, because if it's not in stock, for sure, then people are going to say that, for sure, they're going to go ahead and order online, and just to be able to find out, what items are in stock. But anyway, but talk about here, you got the Walmart app right here. You just install and for more devices right here. But still, it's like every time you think about that, and you're 102 that Walmart groceries, the Walmart shopping and grocery right here. So every time you think about that and want to know that, I'm like, do you get the basic idea on how to do that? But the way I think, I'm like, I'll go and show everybody here that this top up for Crackle Barrels right here. Oh, I know it. So every time you do think about that and want to know, I'm like, Crackle. Crackle Barrel. Yeah, I know it. Everybody might say is to where that, if you don't have it installed on your system, for sure that, you're not going to spell it correctly, and it's going to direct you to another location. But still, it's like, people might say is to where that, it shows on here it's installed on the phone right here. You have view details right here. It's installed already. And so it's like, so it's have it installed, and then this right here, these are the menu options right here that you would get. And but it's like, so I really that so every time you do think about that, then you're warned to where that this is how it works. If it's installed on your device right here, and you would have access to these options right here. So it's like, having your own shopping cart, right? It's basically another way of having your own shopping cart to give you that ability. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.